Hey plebs, welcome to the Respawn Point. This is Respawn Mondays, a weekly video game show. Here we talk about some of our favorite games while giving you the latest news updates. Join us here on the Respawn Point every week for help getting back into the game. I'm your co-host, Nick Barry, and with me, my co-host, we have Elias Christensen.
Hey Nick,
What's going on, Elias?
nothing much. What's up with you?
Not too much. So this is the 27th time respawning for our listeners, and this week we're going to talk about some PUBG, some Fortnite, the newest Spiderman for PlayStation that was given a release date this past week, and a bunch of new info with that. So we'll be talking about that a little bit. But so before we get into the main discussion and news this week, we'll talk about what we've been playing as we do every week. So Elias, why don't you start us off?
So I guess primarily I've been playing a ton of League of Legends, like a ton,
Yep.
and it's been going pretty good. I got from Bronze 5 to Bronze 3. I just got my promotion for Bronze 2, like half hour before the show. So I honestly think, because I checked on op.gg, my MMR is Silver 5 currently.
Oh,
So
nice.
I think I'll be in Silver by next show.
Yeah.
As
And
long as me
and,
and
and
Cooper
you've
keep going at it.
never have you ever been ranked before?
Yeah, I've been ranked in bronze.
Okay.
I used to play a lot of solo queue. Like years ago when I played like ranked a lot, it was mostly just like I played Teemo. I played Zed for a while. People that were viable, but your team needs to work together, and that doesn't happen a lot in Bronze 5. So I think duo queuing in Bronze is a very strong idea. You really
Yeah.
should do it because then at least you have two people that can work together. And what we do, like with I've been doing with Cooper almost for most of the games. I'm jungle, he's support, so he's always with his ADC. I try to just feed bot lane as much as, like, yeah, top and mid need help, but I can assure that there's always three people together. That's a really good idea. you know,
Yeah. That was true.
never get caught out.
Yep.
So I've been playing a lot of that. Cooper's doing really well. He's silver 1, going for his promotion. He doesn't have it yet, but I think he'll be gold by next week, which is going to be a first for him, which is super cool. Um, and yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. I will say though that League is, I think I was telling you before the show, League is a toxic game. Like I I don't think I ever used to have this rage when I played League, but I get mad at people now. I get real mad. um, which I obviously, like, I don't chat it and I don't like flame people during the game, or I try my best not to. I might go a little overboard with pings, but yeah, I try my best to just keep it in Discord, whatever my thoughts are. But for some reason, it just, yeah, makes
Yeah.
me makes me angry when
Which is
people
which
make
is
silly
surprising. I don't
decisions.
think I've ever seen you get angry at a game.
No, yeah, I tend to stay pretty cool. Like even in CS:GO, like if somebody makes a completely, I'm more like, oh, that was stupid. We shouldn't have done that. Let's not do it again.
Right.
But I think with CS:GO, there's always a chance to come back. It's just one round and then everything's reset. Whereas with League, like, everything snowballs so
Yeah.
hard, and
Yeah,
there's
that's true.
always there's always a chance to finish the game. Like if you win this team fight, you can get that inhibitor turret. If you don't, they could get your inhibitor turret, and it could be almost game over, depending on death timers and stuff. Like the risk to reward for dying, it increases as the game goes on, and it makes the tensions only get higher.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been playing a lot of League. um, I was able to play some PUBG, played some of the Savage map,
Yep.
and I was able to play some of the Tequila Sunrise the other night with Matt, and that was pretty fun. Um, it was especially fun because we were duo queuing and they auto match you with other people. So
Yeah.
we get paired with other people, and most people were using voice chat, which was a little different. Like a lot of times I don't come across that in PUBG, but we were able to have some good communication. We ran into some deviants, I might say, that were just making some really dirty jokes, but
Yeah, you'll have that.
yeah, but that's that. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. We did. I think we got third one round or something, but nothing crazy. It's
Yeah.
just a lot of fun because it's like you're trying to go into long range fights with shotguns and like
Yeah, it
it. Just,
definitely changes everything about that game. It's
yeah, it
because
feels cartoony.
you don't have to worry about just getting sniped, so you kind of just do whatever. And like if you see someone kind of far away, you're like, I don't care, he can't hit me. Even if he does, it's like five damage or whatever.
Yeah, I think I got my first vehicular manslaughter kill in that game mode. And what was funny is I ran the dude over, but he was able to knock Matt out while I was doing it,
Hmm.
which well
Okay.
I'd say that's pretty impressive. I
Yeah.
tried I at one point I had 3 cars coming after me. I was in one of those hay bale huts,
Yep.
and they were just circling like all different teams circling me and like fighting each other, and I'm trying to shoot the vehicles so they blow up. And yeah, there's just a lot of mayhem in that game mode. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
um and then one night I was able to play a round of Deep Rock Galactic. I want to play more of that game, but I feel like part of what's really fun is doing it with your friends, and so having like a group set aside a night to do it. I jumped into a lobby that had 3 people, so we went on a mission and it was pretty good. We were successful. Nothing too dangerous happened. But yeah, it didn't feel as fun as when I was playing with Matt, Spencer, and Connor.
Yeah.
Probably a
Yeah.
similar feel to Sea of Thieves. Sort of reminded me of.
Right. Yeah. 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 So for me, nothing new. Just PUBG, League, Fortnite. Um, I figure what we can do is we can go into a little bit more of a PUBG talk. As far as they kind of changed a little bit about how the new map worked last week, and so we can kind of give our first impressions on the 4x4 map.
Mm.
So first, I'll just outline what they changed, and then we can kind of talk about it. I'll ask you what you thought.
Okay.
So what they did halfway through the testing period was they added squads, which was something a lot of people were asking for, including us, as far as we were talking about it, and we were like, yeah, playing solos, whatever.
Yeah, it
So
got a
that
little boring.
yeah, so that was cool that they added that halfway through. So what they ended up doing was they changed it so the first blue zone, or well, just the first circle, will show up right at the beginning of the match when you get in the plane, so you know where the first circle will be. And most of the time, people will obviously try to drop inside that circle. And
Yeah.
then they adjusted the blue zone time speed to be increased during the first phase of the match. So it kind
Okay.
of you have your first circle, you drop, and then I guess that first circle closes in faster, and so then at that point the game is kind of contained within that first circle. So it
Yeah.
definitely, I think,
Makes going somewhere else a lot riskier.
right, exactly. So I'll ask you first. What was your first impressions on the new map?
Um, there's tons of loot. Um, I liked. I mean, obviously the colors. Um, Everything was a bit more vibrant. Um, which I don't know why that feels more fun. Like,
Yeah.
or it maybe there's got to be some color science to it where you're just more relaxed in that type of game mode, whereas like the colors being more realistic, like they are on Miramar and Erangel, make I don't know, they make me more tense. I think like it feels realer. So
Especially Miramar.
yeah, so I liked all the colors. The setting is nice. How vertical the map is. Feels like if you climb up to a mountain, you're gonna have to come down, but at least you have the advantage. You know,
Yeah.
you have the high ground, so to speak.
Yeah. No, yeah, no. I mean, as far as I it's tough after playing this map. It's almost like, why isn't every map 4x4? Because it's still a really big map.
Hmm.
Like maybe there's not as many, obviously there's not as many locations within that map,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like you can get some
I
early action, but at the same time, like me and Connor have had matches where we kind of spend a big part of the kind of the later stage of the game, not doing much, but instead of just running the entire time, at least you can kind of plan your strategy because you're near the circle already.
Yeah. And see, that's something like, yeah, running, like if you drop, I mean, Zarky, you have to get a vehicle on Erangel and stuff like that. And it's nice to be able to drop anywhere and know you can run into circle, first circle. But I like the idea of using cars, and I feel like vehicles aren't as OP on Savage. Like they're not as
They're
viable.
yeah, you don't really need them.
You don't need them, and if anything, they're more dangerous. Like using the boats, I don't think people should really be using boats all that much. Like if you need to get to circle, that's one thing, but it just everyone's so close around you that being in a boat is asking to be killed.
Right. And unless your strategy is to loot someplace out of circle, most of the time you aim for the circle anyways. So it's
And
not.
so, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, so you're not really in need of a vehicle at any point, unless, like I said, your strategy is to go really far outside alone. But I don't know how many people are actually gonna do that.
Probably not a lot. It, and so I think that, like you were saying, why isn't every map 4x4? I like the idea of needing cars and driving around, and like some of the best action sequences that have been captured in PUBG have to do with vehicles. Um, at least for me, those are some of my favorites. And so it doesn't necessarily make the game more competitive, but I just like having the vehicles in there.
I can see a 4x4 map being way more competitive than the 8x8.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, like I think there's more, especially with that first circle already being predetermined in the plane. I think there's just a lot more. I don't know if strategy is the right word, but people are going to be in a certain place. And then on top of that, obviously this is very early in the development, so we don't know how the loot is going to be. But the fact that you could find an AR in like a lot of the buildings made it like
Yeah.
very, like you knew your game plan. You knew you were going to drop. It didn't necessarily matter where you would find an AR, and from
Mm.
there you would usually find some people, and it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny though. Is I think they turned it up so everybody could have a good time testing. I don't
Yeah.
think we're gonna see that many ARs. If anything, I really think I don't want shotguns, but I really think we should be seeing more SMGs, like as opposed to ARs, just because everything is close range for the most part.
Right.
Introducing something like the Winchester on this map would be OP. So like let's say there's a good chance when you drop you're gonna get a Winchester and you're gonna get a micro Uzi or a Tommy gun or something. You'll be able to fight, most fights inside a town with the SMGs, and the Winchester could cover anything like people outside the town until you can find the sniper rifle you need. Like maybe there's one sniper rifle, every other town or something.
Yeah.
Um, just because the ARs did make everything go a little bit faster, and you don't really need the distance an AR can provide. The SMGs can put out more, like especially the micro Uzi, the fire rate on the micro Uzi can put out tons of
That's
damage.
insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. I wonder,
So
I wonder if because every because there's not as much map, I wonder if because there's still 100 players, I wonder if the amount of loot on the map is the same, but because there's less of the map, it's condensed, and that's why you could find a lot of good stuff.
plus something, it's like it's way less vertical. Like you don't have buildings in
Right.
yes Naya or something like that are full of loot top to bottom, or Miramar in Los Leones. Um,
That's really true.
yeah, I think actually it's funny. I think bringing the Tequila Sunrise mode to Miramar makes so much sense because Los Leones is like you can use shotguns all day in those buildings.
Yeah.
Um, it just makes sense. Whereas in the small village terrain that this new Savage map offers, I think it really lends itself towards SMGs. So maybe at some point we get a special game mode on Savage with just SMGs.
Right. I can see
Like
that.
everyone gets micro Uzis or something. That could be pretty fun.
I think what I really like about this map, and I hope, I hope the way it played is similar to what, will eventually be pushed to live servers, because I think because it's a smaller map, the way it would, I think it would get kind of boring if every map played the same. So like say like okay, like I want obviously a faster pace match or whatever, so you'd go to the Savage map, which is a 4x4. And the fact that you're gonna find an AR fairly quickly and just do your thing, I think it plays so much different than the other two maps. Not necessarily that it's better, but if it gives you a reason to play this map over the other ones because it just plays so different. And I think that will really help the game to evolve into a better game.
Yeah, overall, people will know these are different game modes. People will know what each experience is going to be like, which is something you want. You want variety in a big game like this.
Yeah, exactly.
And an interesting point too, with like, let's say you were able to drop on this map and just have an AR. It almost doesn't make sense on Erangel that like what you find immediately is shotguns and pistols, even especially in the smaller houses. Not it makes sense as far as realism goes that not every homeowner is going to have a car, but it doesn't make sense as far as competitiveness goes, because let's say you drop at shelter or
Prison.
the five houses north of school,
Yep.
or the four houses east of Pachinki.
Yep.
Um,
On like the
you
hillside.
Yeah, sometimes it's really hit or miss there, and then once you leave, you're at extremely long distances.
Yeah.
Like it just becomes it's insanely dangerous to actually leave those. You need to be watching your back all the time. So it almost makes more sense that ARs should be more plentiful on um, Erangel, because it's the first map. Maybe they want it to be their most competitive, and people need to be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
Which I guess brings into the risk reward thing that in
I
RNG part of the game, but
I really think, and I mean PUBG has been like this for a while of just like their loot system and the RNG of it, but like, even coming from like Fortnite, like most houses have some type of weapon. Whereas in
yeah,
PUBG, you can go into a house and literally find nothing. Like,
bandages and attachments
yeah,
and you
it's
can't
like
even carry them because you don't have a backpack.
I feel like the weapon should be more, well, exactly. The weapon should be more consistent, whereas like the attachments and all like the additional stuff should be like kind of like the rarer stuff that isn't in every building.
Yeah, that would be really good and help people to get better at the game, because I follow the streamer. I think you know him, Linkstorm52. He does the Red Bull promoter videos.
No, I don't.
Okay, he's so good with the M416,
Yep.
the fully auto one,
Yep.
and uh, there's definitely a difference in him spraying with that with a vertical grip and that with no grip.
Oh yeah.
Um, and it just makes that gun OP. He even if he has a vertical grip, like I saw him take it over an M249,
Well,
and a MK14.
well.
He passed both of them by in the same game because he had an M416, and that's how OP that gun is with grips, and the shoulder.
Yep.
Like I definitely agree that some of the attachments should be a little rarer. Never mind, you don't need them. You end up passing 20
Yep.
of stupid SMG chokes or whatever, or compensators. So
Yeah.
yeah, we.
I mean,
I like that idea, turning those drop rates
I
down.
I think it just needs to be increased a little bit. I mean, it can just be so frustrating when, especially say like you drop like Pochinki or one of the more heavily populated areas. Like, if you go into your building and you don't find anything, you're screwed. You might as well just leave because you don't have anything.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's frustrating. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Like playing the early version of the 4x4 map was just a lot more fun because you just you it wasn't about trying to find a suitable weapon. It was about actually surviving against the other players.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
that's I
I
think
get
that's
that.
more fun, and that improves you as a player rather than like, oh well, I only had a shotgun or like a pistol in this house rather than that guy hadn't had a AR.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yes,
So
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yes. So yeah, I don't know. Like
um
those are just my thoughts on it. Like I thought, going back to the other maps afterwards, it was just like maybe you could just bump it up a little bit. I don't know. I mean,
a, a nice thought to think of is that at least hopefully they'll be able to um discover these things by making different game modes and seeing like, oh, this works so well on Savage. We should really do this and or that on Erangel.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
and even like you were saying, like, you get so many people, like more people towards the end on Savage. Maybe like who knows? This is still in early development from them, so maybe holiday season we get a 6x6
Hmm.
or something that maybe the circle's a little bit smaller than it would be on Erangel, the first circle,
Yeah.
and then just advances as quickly as it does on Savage,
Yeah.
and it's like a more all around type thing. Maybe that becomes the ultimate competitive map. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so as far as did you recognize how long the matches were on that map?
Uh, no, I didn't. I didn't time any specifically.
No, I didn't either. So I don't know. I don't know exactly. It felt maybe a little
I
shorter, but at the same time, sometimes it felt longer.
I think in solo, it felt just as long sometimes as an Erangel match.
Okay.
Depending on the match, of course, but um, in squads, it definitely felt faster.
Hmm. All right. So yeah, we'll have to be. They'll obviously make more adjustments to it the next test period. They'll probably have not. They'll probably have it soon. So we can talk about that more next time. But moving on to the Tequila Sunrise mode that we kind of touched on, it was very fun, but at the same time, the circles needed work.
Oh, what was
I don't.
happening with your circles?
Well, so like the first circle is predetermined, and then it takes like forever for it to close, and then it only gets a tad smaller. And it's like, what's going
Yeah.
on? Like this is supposed to
Uh.
be like close range. Like
So
make
that
this like a
they,
15-minute match. Like, come on.
I do believe they changed that yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a post on the blog. They made some changes literally just for the last day of it
I
because
missed it.
because I think it's over. It was over at some point today.
Oh,
The
okay.
event. Yeah. So yeah, I
Okay.
think I think they did end up speeding it up a little bit.
Because that was like one the first. That was actually the first game I played. Was my best game. I had like 7 kills, and then it was me and a random actually because I think Jake and Billy maybe died, and so it was only me and this other guy, and I played it out, and it literally took like it felt like a full length match, only to
Mm.
end up just losing. We were like third or something. But yeah, I was like, okay, we're literally just waiting for these circles to close, and they get only a tiny bit smaller. Uh, so that was
Okay. They may not have changed it. I might have been wrong there, but I don't know. Me and Matt like to play a slow game anyway, so we just may not have
yeah.
noticed the problem there.
Well, either way, and that was the only thing I noticed. I thought overall it was a much better event mode compared to any of the other ones. They added
Mm.
first person, which was great.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I thought it was really good, and they can obviously keep adding new ones. Maybe they'll bring that one back eventually and have it adjusted. I thought it was just a much different feel, and it made it like it just made it fresh.
Yeah. What's nice is like the more they do this, the better they're gonna get at it. And
Yeah,
it's like anything. Like when you start a new job and you have to learn everything. Like they're just starting event modes. So there's literally a dude at Bluehole analyzing all the problems that went wrong. And then once he knows everything, he can train 3 or 4 more people to run all these things. Like
Mm,
it just takes time, for
yeah.
them to get better. Even if this is a game that ends up being a very wavy game, like it's real hot 1 minute, sort of not the next. At least they're gonna learn from that. And there's potential for that. The more they learn, the longer PUBG sticks around.
Yeah. Yep. And then so there's the last thing on PUBG before we move on. There's a new war game mode that is only available through custom servers, so you can't. The only way to play it is if you join a custom server. But basically, it's like a team deathmatch. You jump into a predestined circle that's much smaller than any of the ones we've seen before, and you basically have a preset loadout. Say like level one gear, only SMGs, and I think that's all. Whoever's running the custom server can kind of pick those parameters, I believe. But you basically just drop. The dropping is a little different. You drop faster and like very straight down, but it's basically like a TDM style mode.
Oh, that's cool.
So, uh, I mean, it was kind of like not announced, but at the same time, they kind of talked about it. YouTubers have shown gameplay and stuff.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know exactly if this is a new mode coming. They haven't really said anything. But
I
I
could
thought it was
I
interesting.
could see it. They did the same thing with when Shroud was doing the flare gun tests. He did it early, and then they ended up having the event mode.
Right, right, that's true.
So that makes sense. Maybe we have a team deathmatch war game coming up soon,
Yeah, it's
weekend
probably
or
it
two.
would probably be this next weekend.
Yeah.
So, it definitely a good way to test your skills in a less stressful environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but moving on, we have a little bit of Fortnite news. The last patch added a few things. We have vending machines in the game now. You haven't played any Elias, have you?
No, I haven't played Fortnite in like
No.
2 weeks or something.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But yeah, no. So it's basically randomized vending machines throughout the map. And each vending machine will have a rarity. So it'll either be like white, blue, green, purple, or gold. And there'll be three items, each corresponding to the materials you'll need. It'll either be wood, brick, or the metal. And so depending on the tier of epicness, or just the tier depends on how much the materials will cost.
Mm.
Gold being 500, and then 100 less and less. So it's interesting. It's kind of randomized. Sometimes they'll have like an RPG, sometimes they'll have a shotgun, or I've seen ones that have like a med kit in it. So it's interesting. I don't know much more to say about it than that though.
I mean, I like the idea. I like that it is so costly
Yeah,
because your chances of finding even a blue weapon in a fight in amongst the town is pretty high. So sacrificing 100 materials for a white version when you already have a blue shotgun, like maybe you want a white AR, it's it's not really worth it too much because you there's a high chance you could come across it. But maybe you need an AR so you could do that.
yeah,
I do like the idea that this is going to be something you're going to have to fight. Like you drop at Tilted Towers, and if you see a vending machine, okay, we have to kill everyone in this town.
yeah.
We
You
have
can
because then we get the vending machine, and
right.
then we can win endgame if it's
Yeah,
purple or gold.
yeah. If it's purple or gold, you really need to farm those materials, which can take a little bit of time. And then even as far as within that, if it's like an RPG, it's usually like it costs metal, which is much harder to get than wood is.
Mm,
So there's kind of like a balancing there too. It's interesting. It doesn't really change the game too much because you can't. I'm pretty sure it's random locations. It's not the same location every time. So yeah, it's not something that you can necessarily plan,
yeah,
but it kind of adds like oh hey, there's a vending machine, and maybe it'll have an item you want.
yeah. It'll change up the gameplay even more. You know, something you come across and something we found with battle royale games is part of why they're so good is you get this like you get a long story. Like it's like when people tell stories about like sports games.
Right.
Like, oh, they were down by 20 and then they can't, they made this crazy play and then they were able to come back. I don't think we've had that for a long time, or at least it's been so hard to explain to people what being behind in CS is in League of Legends, or like normal people don't understand that. Whereas if you're able to tell people like, oh, we were able to farm up our resources and buy this better gun, people understand that. People are like, oh wow, that's crazy, and it gives you a good story. So the more stuff they put in that in the game, I think even drives more growth because people are going to tell these crazy stories that they get.
Yeah. And the fact that they just keep adding new stuff is
Yeah.
they just don't stop.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy, like, it's almost like they don't, I don't know, it's weird. Part of me thinks in my brain like they don't plan on being an esport ever because the game changes so much. But then again, league changes major things every year.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
They really do.
and they add characters with completely new mechanics you've never seen before and all this stuff, like,
Oh, there's
so
so many.
maybe that's how you stay relevant. You just need to always change your game.
Yeah, I think it's kind of true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the generation of games.
You could even say CS:GO is learning that because the amount of changes they're making. They made a bunch of pistol changes. Now we're getting all these map changes. Um, Last year we had rifle changes. Like, yeah, that's a slow change cycle, like once a year. But it's almost close to League of Legends, just on a lower scale. Like, they're not changing
Right,
every character every
right.
couple of months, but um, yeah, maybe that's what the secret sauce is to relevancy.
So the next thing for Fortnite is that many weapons, not all of them, have first shot accuracy. This is basically if you're aiming, you're standing still, and you're not shooting, the first shot will be 100% accurate. And depending on the weapon, it may take a few seconds, it may take 1 second. And as long as you don't like full auto, if you just like single click, it will instantly go back to this first shot accuracy bonus. The weapons included are suppressed submachine gun, tactical machine gun, pistol, suppressed pistol, revolver, hand cannon, assault rifle, and then the burst assault rifle. Um, and you'll be able to tell that you're getting this bonus because the reticle will be completely closed instead of the normal bloom type crosshair that they have. Um, so yeah, I've been able to play with it a little bit. It's definitely interesting. With a burst, it takes like a few seconds for it to close all the way, but once you do, it's very powerful with the burst because you're getting all three shots are accurate, and as long as you aren't spamming it, you'll get the bonus, one after the other. So if you click and burst, you wait a second, and you click again, you're still getting
Hmm.
the crosshair will close back completely just after like a second.
That's pretty cool. I was gonna ask is like, so for the burst assault rifle, that means only the first bullet, but you're saying all three
Yeah.
would be on target. Wow, that's almost seems like they changed all these guns just to buff the burst assault rifle because nobody likes it.
Well, so to kind of counter this, they've changed the damage fall off for all of the weapons with this first shot accuracy.
Hmm.
If you want to know all the specifics, we can link the patch notes in the show notes. But I think the burst has been affected the most for that reason. But so all these weapons from long range now are basically the damage fall off is a lot greater, and that doesn't apply just to that first shot. That this is all the time. And along with that, the headshot damage multiplier has been reduced to only 2 times instead of 2.5 times.
Hmm.
So
Yes, it's a pretty interesting change for me because it makes me think, well, okay, so it wasn't like that before. Like, I would expect well, and see, this is just me coming from CS:GO, that if you're standing still, the first shot is it's not going to be 100% accurate because especially at long distances, there's going to be some a little bit of change, but you would expect the first bullet to be pretty much on the money.
yeah,
what I'm guessing, uh, guessing's a big word here. What they're saying here is that these guns still had a fairly high RNG for the first shot, even if it wasn't factoring in recoil, movement.
Yeah,
Um, I think it probably they've just removed the RNG portion for the first shot
yeah.
now, which
Oh
is,
yeah.
I mean,
I
that's
mean,
that's that's nice, but
like you said, technically it does make sense. I mean, if you're just standing there and you can take a second to aim, yeah, that should be fairly accurate compared to if you're just full auto.
yeah, and I mean, things are different in different games. In CS:GO, that's just how it is. First shot hits as long as you're not moving. In PUBG, that's not necessarily true. There, you have to factor in breathing with scopes and stuff like that. Like you have to hold your breath, and that's not even factoring in it any movement or recoil. So that's a third or fourth factor. Um, so that's just how it works in Fortnite. I'm happy they made this change. That makes more sense to me. But an interesting change nonetheless.
Yeah, it basically just changes how all these weapons work at range. I don't know. I've seen a couple of videos, thumbnails on YouTube of Ninja didn't like it or whatever. I didn't take the time to really listen to it. And from my experience, and not that I play the game too much, but from my experience, it doesn't necessarily change the game too much. I mean, you still have snipers that are the same. Shotguns work the same. So
Yeah.
it's mostly, if anything, if anything, maybe it encourage. I don't know. It's kind of like a trade-off. You get that accuracy, but it just does a little bit less damage.
I
Um,
think I think it also it buffs the sort of mid-range weapons. Like everybody
yeah,
in PUBG knows, okay, sniper rifles are OP and shotguns are OP. That's what you use long range and short range. Um, so now this may encourage more medium range engagements,
which wasn't high
which
enough already.
well, I think it's hard at medium range because of the building. I mean, if anything, this might
Well, because it was
I don't know.
any good player knows to just push your opponents if you can and get the high ground and just shotgun.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing.
So I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe they don't want you hitting your. I don't know. It's interesting because you get that accuracy, so you do hit more. It's just less damage
Yeah,
because
eh,
like I said, you can consistently be 100% accurate with your shot if you don't auto.
yeah, yeah. It's just an interesting change. Like it's what I would have expected the game to be already, but at the same time, part of what makes Fortnite is the like insane clips you can get with a shotgun at short range, or like people impulse grenading themselves into their enemy's fort, or
Yeah, I've seen
all
that.
this crazy stuff that it makes Fortnite. So I think maybe this is a more just a quality of life. Maybe you don't have an impulse grenade and you can't do that, and you have to take the fight from medium range.
Yeah. Yep. So the last thing is that there's a new item that's not in the game yet. It'll probably be a week or two out still, but they're being dubbed porta forts, and they're basically items that sprout, and it's quoted a quick defensive position upon impact.
Hmm.
So it'll most likely be some type of grenade type thing you throw, and it pops up. We don't know exactly what kind of structure it will build, but it's called Portafort.
Hmm.
So if you're bad at building, you can instantly. You know, it would be cool if it had different rarities, and if like the highest rarity made like a bigger base or whatever.
A bigger base, or maybe made it out of metal as opposed to
Yeah,
wooden,
yeah, that's true
wooden
too.
brick.
So
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That sounds
yeah,
fun.
yeah, that's interesting. Um, so yeah, that's it for Fortnite though. Um, yeah. So before we go on to some Spider-Man stuff, there's a new map for Overwatch called Rialto, which is located in Venice, Italy, and it's coming out April 10th, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, along with the Retribution mode, which is the returning mode from last year, um, the Overwatch blue guy thing. I never played it. I
um,
don't know.
Retribution. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, have you seen all the Blackwatch stuff coming out?
No.
Okay, so
'Cause I
I
think that.
guess
No,
it's
go ahead.
gonna. I think it's. I don't even know. Maybe this is related, but it takes place like it's like a prequel to Overwatch. It's like back
Yeah.
before Reaper was Reaper, and
Okay. Yeah, I did read about that.
yeah, they've changed their logo on Twitter and stuff like that. It looks pretty fun. It seems like it's gonna be a more mission based game mode.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I didn't pay attention to it enough. I'll hopefully I'll play some Overwatch this Wednesday and find
I have
out.
to say that one time we played Overwatch a week or two ago with everyone was actually like really fun.
Yeah, it was
It's
for
just
sure.
kind of like the game. That game is fun. It's just you got these stupid battle royale games that overshadow it.
Yeah.
Because before
Um.
before PUBG and stuff, Overwatch was a big one.
Yeah. I still like I play Overwatch typically once a week, just a little bit with Megan or something, and
Yeah.
um. I especially I'm looking very much forward to Lucio Ball. Hopefully they bring it back again. It's one
Yeah.
of my favorite game modes. Um, but I mean, this some storyline stuff that's coming out, all exciting. Maybe it will be popping up a little bit more for us.
Yeah. And the new
Um,
map sounds fun. You know, I've been to Venice, so
nice.
no.
That's a funny thought because part of some fun stuff for me traveling the country is going to a city and then being like, I saw that in Tony Hawk. Like you see like sculptures or big buildings, they try to replicate them. I actually once I was like, my first time going to Boston, I was like, oh, this is here, then that's over there, and they're like, this is their first time to Boston, and I'm like, yeah, but I played Tony Hawk. Not that the Boston level was all that accurate or anything. I just remember like vaguely what was close to it. I think they tried a little bit,
Right.
and so maybe that'll be pretty cool for you. I'm excited for you to like maybe
No,
they
yeah, because
include
I
something.
mean, I mean, Venice is known for their archways and everything that most people probably know about, but it would just be interesting if it's accurate to what. Because I don't know, I've never been to any of the other places in Overwatch, so I don't know if it's gonna be themed like Venice or if it's actually gonna be like Venice.
Yeah,
It'll just be interesting.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
You should at some point if we play some CS:GO together, you should try out Canals, because it's similar to Venice. I think it's based in Venice, but they just didn't name it directly.
right, right.
It looks pretty cool. There are actual like little canals you have to walk through, and
Hmm,
um yeah.
nice. Yeah, no, I want to play more CS:GO. I've been begging Jake to play, but
You've been on me, and I just sort of dropped it for some
yeah,
reason. Um,
happens.
I'll get back to it. Yeah, yeah. Our game interest seems so what's the word? Erratic.
Erratic, yeah. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
Um, but so in other news, Spider-Man for the PS4 has a release date. It's coming out September 7th. So mark that in your calendars. Buy a PS4 if you don't have one.
Mm.
So yeah, it looks they've so Game Informer has the exclusive this month for the game, and they'll have like the magazine with all the information next month. It'll be the May edition. But so what they've announced is that there's going to be a deluxe and a collector's edition, normally priced $80 and $150 respectively, which is the norm. The collector's edition includes a Spider-Man statue, a steelbook for the game, and a mini art book, along with pre-order bonuses. If you pre-order, you'll get 3 costumes in the game right away. The only one that they've revealed so far is Spider-Punk,
Hmm.
which he has like a cut off leather jacket. He has like a spiky mohawk. Um, so yeah. Other than that, they've announced that there's no microtransactions. There is planned DLC. There's going to be 3. They're calling them chapters, which I would assume each DLC will be maybe 1 chapter, and these will contain new storylines, characters, and costumes.
That's pretty cool.
Um, yeah, yeah. It it's I mean, it's actually funny to think that with everything being so negative as far as microtransactions go, it's funny to think that we were mad at DLC at one point because
Well,
like
what's funny is so is it going to be paid DLC?
it's paid DLC, yeah,
So I don't know. It's
which
weird. It's
people
like
used to get mad about, and now
how is
that
that?
the
It's like how
backlash
is that
is
not a microtransaction at the same time? Like
because they're different. Everyone is so caught up on microtransactions, which is fair with Battlefront and
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything.
Well,
But everyone's like, oh, DLC's not that bad.
yeah.
Paid DLC
Maybe
is like fine.
yeah. Well, it's more content. Like
Yeah,
even though it might seem right now that it's ready, like it to be released at launch, and they're holding it off for later to keep financial support of the game going. I'm not so against that as long as like I'm not buying. Like I think hate for microtransactions comes into when you introduce a fake currency in your game that I have to buy with real world cash and then spend in game on different things.
yeah.
Like stuff like that. I mean, which is what League runs off of, and people have no problem with that.
Free to play.
Yeah, but when you've already paid $80 for a game,
Yeah.
um,
So, well, exactly. That was a problem with Battlefront.
yeah,
As far as this game goes, you'd have to think, and obviously you don't know, but with like say like Battlefront 1, that game was severely lacking in content, and then they sold the other half of that game in their DLC. With Spider-Man, it seems like there's a fully fleshed out storyline, and then the
yeah.
DLC is just added on chapters and costumes and
It's
characters and all this stuff.
as long as it's mostly like, I think. See, I'm not even against cosmetics because as long as they keep it to just cosmetics, it's one thing. And with this, they're adding cosmetics and a storyline. That's great. It really, I think it came into play where people could do better than you by spending money.
Right.
That's what the real hate about microtransactions is. Like I don't care if you have microtransactions for just cosmetic things.
Right.
I
And
think most
and
people
the
don't.
thing about this game is, Spider-Man is known for how many crazy costumes and alternate costumes he has, whereas they could have really piecemealed this, or at least taken advantage of it as, oh yeah, we'll give you a certain amount of costumes to unlock, but then the rest you have to pay for. They're
Yeah.
not doing that. All the costumes actually play a part in the gameplay where you get crafting material in the game, and you then use this crafting material to create different alternate costumes, which also grant unique abilities.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's a neat idea.
so it's not just cosmetic. It's has gameplay advantages to it, which is awesome.
And the system is built into the game, and it's not there's not going to be any real world money involved in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So I like it. DLC is fine when you get a full game, and then is it same thing with like say Horizon Zero Dawn, like full game, great game. If you want to continue playing that game with new story stuff, you can do so and buy the DLC. Which when it's like that, I think it works and it's awesome.
Hmm.
So as far as this, obviously we don't know because the game's not out. But if it has a really great story, and then if you want to keep playing with the DLC, it's awesome. So,
Yeah.
um,
I know. So the next little note you have is that the web slinging is reported to be amazing and quote unquote better than Spider-Man 2, which what you were just saying reminded me of Spider-Man 2 because I remember beating the game multiple times and still just wanting to swing
yep,
around and like help people with little purse snatchings or whatever, like just so I because I think there were a few upgrades I hadn't unlocked. There was some end game stuff that I just wanted to complete. Never mind, it was one of those games where I could zone out and just web sling for a long time and then save somebody. I used to play Dirt 3 like that a lot. Like I would just go to the Gymkhana training area and I would just drive. I would literally just like zone out for 5 hours and drive around the training area. I don't know what it is about like certain games just get me into like a very relaxed state where I'm just like this
yeah,
is amazing.
yeah. No,
Just
I
playing
mean
with the mechanics.
the web slinging in Spider-Man 2 was, especially for its time, was ridiculously good. You had
Yeah.
all of the different upgrades for your web slinging you could do, and just how in depth it was oh, it was so satisfying.
Yeah.
And
And
having at that time having, you can go to the top of the Empire State Building and go all the way down to the street.
yep.
When I remember that game came out, it was just like it was insane.
Yeah, that was I remember there was an achievement for falling a certain distance,
Oh, that's funny.
and you had to climb the Empire State Building for it. I remember that,
Yeah.
and that was it was insane. Like to think, oh, it was like sort of what Skyrim did as well, having like that open of a world
Hmm.
where you can climb. I think there's an achievement in Skyrim for getting to the tallest peak and jumping off or something. Um, and yeah, that was know I spent hours on that. Just like not even I think I might have gotten it fairly soon, but just doing it repeatedly,
Yeah.
just like
Because it's so
having
much
fun.
fun.
Yeah, having fun climbing it and just jumping off.
Yeah.
That was a super fun part of that game.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for this game. I mean,
Yeah.
the everyone at Game Informer who has played it has said really great things. Um, so yeah, and plus it's made by Insomniac, and I like them a lot because they've made Ratchet and Clank. Um, so I love those games. So I think it'll be good. I mean, it's as long as you get the web slinging down with modern graphics and web slinging. Uh, it's
Yeah,
just
it
it's
should be a pretty good game.
yeah. So the last thing for Spider-Man, the guy at Game Informer, when he went to play it, he saw the costume screen or whatever,
Mm.
and he tried to quickly count them all, and he said that there was 21, but the one of the developers was like, "Oh, don't bother counting. That's not the whole list."
Oh, okay.
So I mean, 21 is a lot. I think the confirmed ones are classic Spider-Man, which I would assume is from like the original like Spider-Man movies. You have
Mm.
the new one with the white spider. You have I forget what it's called, but it's like a black leather type suit, and then the Spider Punk one. So those are the only four we know about, but obviously those three, and then there's tons more. I mean, there's Scarlet. There's if they have Spider Gwen. I mean, they could have
Yeah,
so much stuff.
there's so many
There's
that
so many.
they could use. Never mind. Probably they're probably gonna be an Iron Spider one. Um, from the
Yeah.
movie for the movie
That'd be
tie-in.
so sick.
There's a movie coming out. I think it might be being made with Netflix called like it's about like the Spider Verse and basically like people are traveling in between dimensions and finding all the spiders. Like the spiders are teaming up.
Huh.
And yeah, there's just so many. There's so many different Peter Parkers. It's a bit
Yeah.
ridiculous, but very
Yeah.
fun.
So yeah, so that's all very exciting. I don't know. I don't know what additional I'll get. I'll probably end up pre-ordering it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
after
It's
I,
funny that I have less trepidation about pre-ordering this game. I don't. I'm gonna like it just because I like Spider-Man
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. So I mean, I'll probably definitely pre-order it. I mean, you get the three costumes right off the bat, which normally I think there's a couple other bonuses you get for pre-ordering, which I think it comes with like a couple gadgets early on too, which normally I don't like. Like I like that stuff to be organic for me throughout the game. I
Hmm.
don't like it given to me, like earning it. So I don't know. I mean, I'll probably end up pre-ordering it anyways, just because it's the thing to do. But as far as deluxe or not, I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I I could see myself going for that collector's edition just because they say you get a mini art book and when I was growing up, Spider-Man was probably me and Ethan's favorite superhero for a long time. We even had like a history of Spider-Man like encyclopedia that was like an inch thick with like detailed illustrations of all the different characters, history timelines, stuff like that. We probably read it 10 times each all the way through. Um I'm not even the biggest fan. Like that's there's still so much like I haven't read all the comics for sure. But yeah, having something to look at. I do like Spider-Man a lot. And then I moved on to Batman. Um, real angsty. type deal. but
Yeah.
uh,
Well, so
but
what I think the other thing too is that speaking of Batman, the people at Game Informer are related. Their Insomniac is doing what Rocksteady did with Batman.
okay,
So I mean, if that's true, then it's gonna be really good
yeah,
because
yeah,
those games were ridiculously good.
yep.
Yeah, I mean, and then it comes with a steelbook too. Like, I wish it came out as like a pre-order bonus, or at least like a. I know Best Buy did that with like Monster Hunter and stuff. Steelbooks are like really cool to
Yeah,
me.
it'd be nice. That'd be nice if those were a bit more available. Like maybe you could put that into the physical deluxe edition,
Right.
and then the collector's edition still comes with the statue and the art book. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
all
what it
cool.
is. What it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks awesome. In other news, Spyro Trilogy is being remastered and it's coming out September 21st, so a couple weeks later. And this is for the PS4 and Xbox One. I remember actually playing Spyro on a PS1 at my cousin's house when I was like
Mm.
really little, and that's all my experience with Spyro. I don't have any other.
I actually rented a PS1 from Blockbuster and played Spyro for a week, and that's the totality of my experience with Spyro as well. But yeah,
Which
I
again
hear
is made by Insomniac.
yeah, I hear a lot of people are really excited for it. Um, I don't know if I'd spend a lot of time playing it. Maybe it'd be something Megan be interested in, so I could see that.
Yeah, I would assume because I would assume it'd be like $40.
Uh, it's 3 games. I could see it going for 60.
Do you recall what Crash Bandicoot was? Because they did that trilogy remastered not too long ago.
I do not recall that.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, it is 3 games. It looks
Yeah,
great. It looks like really good compared to what it came from.
what it what it used to look like
Yeah.
for sure.
So
Um,
I guess I wouldn't
interesting.
knock them.
Sort of on our last, I mean that's our last Sony point, but just something I've been catching from a couple tech YouTubers and stuff like that is that there's PS5 rumors out there for holiday season 2018
No.
potentially. There's not like fixed like dates. It's just there's one guy that put out an article, um, and he has it on multiple sources that game developers have um, pre like prototype units.
Mm,
So I mean, it could still be well out. It makes sense because the PS4 is still doing good for
yeah.
them not to release it this holiday season. They could definitely get another year, but some of the rumors revolving around it is that it's going to be AMD based completely, um, Zen architecture, so fairly recent, but with a new GPU architecture that we haven't seen yet.
Hmm.
AMD as well. Um, if it comes out, I don't know. I'd be pretty disappointed if it came out this holiday season because I did just buy the PS4. But
Honestly, I don't think it's coming
yeah,
until like 2020.
I could see 2019, but especially if they already have the prototype units out to game developers. I don't. It does depend though. If they just got the development or the prototype units, game development. If they're starting their games now, it's see that's the thing is I would definitely think their games aren't going to be done by November. But they could be done within a year and a half.
Yeah, I don't know. I still
It
I,
might
s-
be
I still
that could
think
be
it's
a
really early in PS4's life. I think it's doing really good.
mm,
I I think 2020.
yeah.
But
The other argument for why it would be so soon is because they're both x86 processors and like the the overall system is not that different. It's just going to be a little bit faster.
hmm,
Because the PS4 and the Xbox are getting more and more like just regular computers. They're not using their own processors that they, it's not like a cell processor anymore.
I mean, because so the Xbox One and the PS4 were lined up as far as they were pretty. They came out what the same year,
Mm,
and they were pretty equal as far as the capabilities. Obviously, the PS4 has done a lot better throughout its life. The PS3 was before, or no, it was after. What was it? Was it after the 360 or before it?
I want to say after.
I want to say it was after, yeah, because I
Yeah.
remember like the X because like the Xbox the original Xbox was like in between the PS1 and PS2. The PS2 came out and was doing better. Xbox came out the 360 and that was better than the PS2, and then the PS3 came out. It was, really expensive, but it was better than the 360.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe PlayStation with the Xbox One X being like the hardware is beyond the PS4 Pro by a large margin. Maybe they
Mm,
want to have a leg up on that hardware wise.
yeah.
And that's the only thing I could think of as why they would be pushing for a PS5.
Yeah, I sort of agree with you that it just makes more sense to wait a year or two.
Yeah,
But it's interesting that the rumors are already out there.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah. Last couple of things we have. Battlefront 2, there's speculation that an announcement will be made sometime this week about new content, mostly customization, probably. People are getting upset because people think the next, season 2 will be solo season because of the movie next month, which they're probably not wrong because EA is stupid. Um, so, yeah. But yeah, no, look out for an announcement probably sometime this week, as early as tomorrow, but maybe later in the week. And then the last point, there's a Smash Brothers Switch tournament during E3. They did this back for Brawl, I believe. E3 June 11th and 12th, and I didn't realize it, but you can already pre-order the game on like Amazon and stuff.
Wow. So the game's almost done, which means they have been working on it the whole time they said they weren't.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think it's funny. Like, I think it's funny that you can pre-order it, but they haven't like we still don't know if it's like a new game or not.
Yeah.
Like usually like you can pre-order it once they give you like all the details, like with Spider-Man or something.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like, well, they probably just know like, oh, it's Smash Brothers. People want to pre-order it. Doesn't matter if they know anything about it or not.
Well, well, I think something that is happening with third-party sites like Amazon, just because they have promotional deals to go along with video games, they just want to get it up there early as possible. And whether or not they have all the details, as long as they have a promotional image,
Yeah,
they'll put it up.
yeah,
Um, so that may not be something to go by, but the fact that we're getting a tournament in June means the game's pretty much ready
yeah,
and it'll be out. I don't know. I guess it could come out during the summer, but they could also wait till um, holiday season.
yeah. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But September's pretty stacked already with games.
September is
Not
stacked. Yeah.
not that like I guess Nintendo really cares because it's Smash Brothers, but
Yeah, that's the other thing is they have a different. They're not
right.
trying to beat Spider-Man.
No, right, right. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, September would be maybe October. I hope it's not November. It's too late.
It's too late, and there's so much to. Um, Other stuff's gonna be coming out, and there's stuff to do, and people are busy. I could see. I mean, if they have a tournament, it seems like it's pretty ready. Like, what if they went with a July sale?
Maybe. Just for
That
reference, Super Smash Brothers for Wii U came out, let's see, October 3rd.
All right, they could do that. They could still go
So,
for something like that.
yeah, the 3DS version came out before the Wii U version on September 13th.
That's funny.
I think if I'm reading this correctly. Wait. Let me look. This could be the 3DS version, even though I specifically said Wii U. Um, oh no, okay, I'm wrong. So stupid Google. Um, the Wii U version did come out in November. The 3DS version in North America came out in October.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So actually November 21st, actually. That was pretty late. Hopefully it's not
Wow.
that late.
Yeah.
God, that would suck. Maybe not, because I wonder if there's probably no 3DS version this time. That wouldn't make sense. Like the Switch is already portable.
I have a strong feeling there's going to be a 3DS version
Okay.
because I mean, they offer every other game, like all of the digital console or whatever. Like they love that. They love making you buy two of the same thing.
That's true. I feel like if you have a Switch and a 3DS though, you just get for Switch though.
Yeah, yeah. I think you would only buy one, but some people might buy two. I don't know. I mean, right now, like I have a 3DS and I bought it to play Pokemon, but I also bought Smash Brothers, even though I never play it on the 3DS. Just because maybe I'll play it with Connor and Spencer, like once in a blue moon,
Right.
because you can play against them on Wii, or I think they have it on 3DS as well.
Right.
So I just bought it to have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that situation, maybe you're only a handheld person and you haven't gone in on the Switch. It makes sense to have a copy over there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, I guess. We'll see though. Hopefully we'll probably obviously find out at E3 a lot more information.
Yeah, yeah, I could see them with a release date.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
would be.
obviously they'll have the tournament so we'll be able to see the game and everything.
Yeah.
So kind of wrapping up the show here, guys. We have the polls and trivia from last week. We asked how important playing video games with friends was to you. 89% said very important. So no one said not important. 11% said it doesn't really matter. So yeah,
Yeah, I
it's an
think
important thing.
huge part of gaming right now.
Yeah. So there's no question this coming week, guys. Unless Elias says anything.
Don't have an idea, but maybe we'll come up with something midweek.
Yeah. So, but that's the show, guys. Nice news roundup. We got a bunch of new stuff. We're kind of there wasn't much going on last week, so this week made up for it. But so if you want to catch us next week, we'll be live on Twitch at 8 p.m. on Monday. If you missed this episode, you'll be able to find it on podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, etc. You can find us over on Twitter at Respawn Mondays. We also have our shows on YouTube also at Respawn Mondays. You can follow me personally at NickyGirl7. And if you want to send us an email, ask us a question, or tell us something, you can do so at respawn.mondays@gmail.com. And then if you also want to leave us a review on iTunes, that will greatly help us out. Other than that, what about you, Elias?
You can follow me at on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, all at Tolmaeth, TOLMAEITH. Yeah, been playing a lot of League, so if you like see people escaping bronze in League, stop on by.
You're almost there, dude. Like,
Dude, I'm gonna be in silver by next podcast. Pretty sure.
all right, count on that. I'm counting on
And Cooper's gonna and I'm gonna get Cooper to gold. That's been my go live notification last couple streams. Is I'm carrying Cooper to gold from bronze.
it. Awesome. All right, guys, that's it for this week. I'm Nick Berry,
And I'm Elias Christensen.
and thanks for respawning with us.
We'll see you next time.